Hey guys, welcome to another episode from me, Crafty Genius here. Today I'm bringing you some breaking news from the video game industry. As you all know, Call of Duty is one of the biggest titles out there. Yes, it may have had a little slip up with Call of Duty Ghosts, with a 19% dip on the usual sales expected for Call of Duty, but you can still stand by the franchise and say it is one of the biggest pillars in gaming. One of those games that everyone can just pick up, play with their friends and get to know really well. It's a fun game, and I'm sure with the new 3 development studios all working in a 3-year cycle to release their own Call of Duty games, there will be a bright future ahead for Call of Duty. So what am I coming here today to tell you? Well, the PlayStation 4 is apparently going to be the next Call of Duty's lead platform for the years to come. So obviously at the moment we have a system where Xbox 360 and Xbox One always get the downloadable content first. They get to try it out first. They have it I think it's about a month in advance from the PlayStation 4 release date and PlayStation 3. That's the current system, where they release it out to Xbox first and then they release it to PlayStation, and it keeps going like that until the very last DLC content, where both consoles have it but PlayStation are always 1 month behind. But this is not going to be the case anymore. Supposedly, a little breaking news story is that Activision is currently planning to reverse that cycle, where the PlayStation will instead be their lead console. So the PlayStation will get the DLC content first and then the Xbox. And I can sort of understand why this would be the case, because the PlayStation 4 bundle at the time of writing this, I've been doing a little bit of research and I found that the PlayStation is actually a lot more popular than the Xbox One at the moment. So at the time of recording, you can see on Amazon.co.uk that the PlayStation 4 is vastly outperforming the Xbox One, where the Xbox One comes in at position 51 in the top 100 selling products for the video game industry, and the PlayStation comes in at number 10. So there's a distinctive 40 place gap between the two consoles, and this is pretty worrying, seeing one console so outperforming the other. And this really backs up in hard figures as well. Apparently there's 4.2 million PS4s out there currently and only 3 million Xbox Ones. So let's try and understand why Activision would want to switch over to the PlayStation. So obviously they had the Xbox all the way from the start of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, where it always had the DLC first for a month and then the PlayStation would get released it. And Xbox One, when it was released, had a big selling advantage to gamers who performed YouTube videos, for instance. So all the DLC were promised to the viewers of the presentations that DLC would become earlier than the PlayStation 4, and they had all these ties to companies like Activision, who had set the standards of actually incorporating a partnership deal with hardware manufacturers. Because their game was that big, they could have such an economy of scale over how they sell their DLC. So obviously PlayStation 4 is vastly outperforming the Xbox One because of many factors: hardware, specification, you can name it, anything you want. It's vastly outperforming the Xbox One. And with this promise to Xbox running out, they would like to target the majority of gamers to try and get the maximum sales for their game. So obviously if only 10% of players want to go and get Call of Duty, for instance, that means they have a huge advantage of sales figures, and they're trying to get as many of those gamers to actually go and purchase the DLC as well. So if you're going to be selling to a small market first and then a huge market, it's sort of a bit weird. You want to be trying to sell your content to the vast majority of the market first and then gradually push it out to the smaller market. So back in the days when the Xbox 360, in my opinion, it was the best performing console, they would want to get as many of those Xbox 360 users to have the DLC before the PlayStation 3 users, because they could rant and rave about how good it was, and then the PlayStation players would be like, oh my god, have you seen this player play this? It's so amazing, I want to go and get it. But now the tables have turned, so they're going to try and follow PlayStation, and they're going to try and broker some sort of deal with PlayStation that actually goes against what Xbox had already built up a relationship with. So it's quite interesting how this story is going to develop. Let me know in the comments what you think this is going to do to the Xbox One and Activision in general. Maybe you think Call of Duty sort of passed and it doesn't really matter anymore. But I really do think that this is still a big pillar of gaming, and everyone can relate to Call of Duty and how it performs. And many video game products actually follow the path that Call of Duty puts down. So maybe this could be the start of a huge avalanche of developers moving over to PlayStation 4. As everyone knows, they actually do treat indie developers especially a lot nicer than Microsoft do, where they charge them and make sure they can't sell it on any other platforms and be very restrictive. So maybe Activision is starting to open their eyes at PlayStation. Yet again, this is a rumour, so don't hold me to this if this doesn't actually come out. But hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like down below. I'll be trying to do more video game news as and when I get to see it, and if I think it's appropriate for the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and I'll see you soon.